Hello and welcome to Laughs from the Past, podcast where we talk about a funny and true or interesting story from history. And I, Jimmy, tell it to my co-host Jake, who's hearing it for the first time. And we laugh about it. Hi Jake, how are you?
We laugh about it. We tell jokes and we listen to the story.
You
and
got
think
it.
Think about different things that are part of the story.
Wow, there you go. We got it. All right. Well, today we are going to talk about the shortest war in recorded history, according to Guinness Book of World Records, who I don't think should be in charge of that.
No.
Like most gumballs you can fit in your mouth, longest fingernails. Let Guinness Book of World Records take care of that. Shortest war in history. I don't think Guinness can be like,
No.
yes, we're positive. But that's what we're talking about. So here we go. Well, first off, before we get into this, Jake, how are you? Tell the people how you are.
Good. I'm really good, man.
Let them know what mindset you are coming from for this episode. Jake's not feeling too well.
I'm not feeling too well. I'm not well.
It's not well. So the good. Sometimes those are the best. Sometimes you get when you're sick or overtired is when you're most zany and creative. Pretty good stuff. Oh,
Maybe Noodles barking.
You got the mailman there or something?
The mailman's here.
All right. The shortest war ever fought, according to Guinness Book of World Records, which again, I'm not going to allow them to be a credible source on this subject matter, but we'll take it for what it is, was between British Empire and Zanzibar. First thoughts when you hear about the country Zanzibar.
Not a country. Next.
Zanzibar. Hilarious. I think of the Jack Black Tenacious D song. We can order it from Zanzibar.
I think it was a popular level on Halo for a while.
Okay.
Halo.
Well, so Zanzibar is an island off of Africa. I had to look it up. It's bigger than Texas, smaller than Alaska. So it's pretty decent size.
Not bad.
Because it was off the coast of Africa, the eastern coast, it's a hub. It was a hub for trade. It might still be. So that's why I was like, why is Britain even messing around with a small island off of Africa? Hub for trade, biggest import at the time was like slavery, I think. But all sorts of trade went through there.
The trade party island is how I'm picturing it.
Trade party island, yes.
Like a bunch of people getting drunk, like, oh, we made it to Zanzibar. We're on the final stretch. Yeah.
All right. And next door on mainland Africa is how do you say it? Tanzania? Tanzania, yes. Which at the time was Germany had control of Tanzania. Britain had control of Zanzibar. So Germany had the mainland, Britain had the island.
Times were weird when it was claiming and like owning different territories.
Yeah, I mean it still happens.
Tense. Yeah,
it's pretty weird. Yeah, man, like South Africa and stuff. Like Britain just came through and was like, "No, we're gonna run this now," and then
we own this.
Yeah, we own this. Yeah, it's weird times. Okay, so the backdrop for why this war took place. Now you know where we are. I'm going to start reading from Ben Johnson wrote this at historyuk.com. It's the best wrap-up I could find. I read a tons of different stuff. His was the best. So congrats, Ben. You are our source material for this episode. The story begins with the signing of the Heligoland-Zanzibar Treaty between Britain and Germany in 1890. This treaty effectively drew up spheres of influence between the imperial powers in East Africa. Zanzibar was ceded to British influence, whilst Germany was given control over mainland Tanzania. We already said that. I summed that up well, but that's the paragraph. With this newfound influence, Britain declared Zanzibar a protectorate of the British Empire, which is a really fancy word for saying we own you, make money off you, and run you. You're our slaves. And moved to install their puppet sultan. So Zanzibar is a cool place where you have sultans. It's probably one of the best words for like king, ruler, president, sultan. One of my top
It's
five.
one of your favorite words to describe a king or ruler.
What would you prefer? Would you prefer to be emperor, sultan, king, queen, president, prime minister? What are you going with?
The Great,
The Great, Jake the Great.
Alexander the Great, Jake the Great,
Yeah. Okay, that's not bad.
Jake the
So
Dog.
So what happened is they put this guy in charge. I'm going to butcher these names, obviously. Hamad bin Thuwani, who had been a supporter of the British in the area, and he was given the position in 1893 once they became a protectorate. I'm like, cool, all right. He was good. He was nice for the British. They enjoyed him. He ruled for 3 years, and then he died suddenly. And everyone says he was poisoned by his cousin. Let me find the name. Khalid bin Bargash. Khalid bin Bargash. They say he poisoned him. And there's no proof of the matter, but he died suddenly. Shouldn't have died. And immediately after he died, his cousin, Bagdash, said, I'm in power now, and brought in like his own little guarded army and took over the palace and said, it's mine now. Which I think is a telltale sign that you poisoned the guy.
Yeah, that's hint number one. If you have your own personal army ready to go, you poison them. Why is poisoning less popular nowadays?
Well, they just did it recently in North Korea. They blew that dust in that guy's face, remember?
No, man.
Oh, there was video footage of this North Korea guy. They had assassins come, and one assassin came and threw this powder in this guy's face, and then another assassin came and threw a second set of powder, and when mixed, it killed the guy. And there's like video footage of it. So it's still going on, but just not in America. But it's true. Like maybe it's easily detectable. Like, oh, they were poisoned, and then
I guess they just didn't do like autopsies back in the day.
Yeah,
Like, oh, well, this person's dead.
just fell dead.
Now it's like, oh, you were poisoned with rat poison from the oatmeal you had that was served to you by your second cousin,
Yeah.
Mahmoud.
Uh-huh. Okay, so he didn't ask for the British approval to become the new sultan. He didn't ask anyone's approval because he poisoned the guy.
Oh, an army.
Yeah. Needless to say, the local British diplomats were not happy at all with this turn of events, and the chief diplomat in the area, Basil Cave, awesome name, sounds like, well, Basil's from...
Yeah, Austin Powers, top-notch name.
Cave to put on the end of Basil is awesome.
Basil, such a terrible American name. Great English name.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Any others? Any other names that are awesome in England but terrible? Like Liam, because of Liam Gallagher and stuff. Like I think Liam is cool in Britain, but Liam in America, not a cool name.
Depends. Liam gets a little bit of a Chad vibe in America now. Where if you have the accent, man, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Okay. So Basil Cave, who's the diplomat in Zanzibar, quickly declared Khalid, like, dude, stand down. You can't do this. In our agreement with the other ruler that made this agreement with us, like, we have to approve whoever's going to take over and be sultan. And Khalid was like, yeah, but I just killed that guy because I didn't agree with anything he did. So obviously I'm not going to agree with that document that he signed, which makes a lot of sense. Like, no.
Yeah.
Imagine poisoning a guy, bringing your own army and becoming the ruler, and then being told, dude, you had to ask our permission first. Would you have let me poison him?
No. Yeah. See, I poisoned that guy so I didn't have to deal with all of this. So
Son, just let me do me.
So I'll be good.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you.
So he brought his forces around the palace. These forces were surprisingly well armed, although it's worth noting that quite a few of their guns and cannons were actually diplomatic gifts that had been presented to the former sultan over the years. So this dude let his cousin be king for 3 years and collect gifts from Britain, saying like Britain gave the other sultan gifts like, hey, this is to protect yourself. You're part of Britain now. You're like under our wing. You need all this military stuff. And the cousin was just looking at all this coming up, boy, I could use that. And he just, once he had enough, he was like, all right, poison, you're mine now, Zanzibar.
Smart.
Yeah, it is smart. There's a picture of Basil Cave here. He looks exactly how you're picturing him in your head.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. So, the forces were surprisingly well armed. By the end of the 25th of August, Khalid had his place secured with almost 3,000 men, several artillery guns, and even a modestly armed royal yacht at the nearby harbor. They're on an island. So he's well armed. So, like, it couldn't be more clear that, dude, you poisoned your cousin and you're, like, taking control now. At the same...
1890s, what's a royal yacht looking like?
I don't know. 1890 Royal Yacht. Let me Google it, see what comes up. I bet there's some model number called Royal Yacht. Yeah, it's just a long wooden ship.
Okay. Good to know.
Ron, do you know what diversity means? I believe it's an old wooden ship. So, the British at the same time had 2 warships anchored in the harbor, the HMS Philomel and the HMS Rush. Cool name Rush, bad name Philomel. And the troops were quickly being sent ashore to protect the British consulate and to keep the local population from rioting. Cave also requested backup from another nearby British ship, the HMS Sparrow, which entered the harbor on the evening of the 25th of August. So British, like, okay, you have 1 yacht, we have 3 ships. We're the British Empire.
Right.
He knew that they didn't want to just start a war, so he was like, yo, dude, come out, come on. Like, look, you're surrounded, this is a lost cause, come out. He asked the British Empire, are we authorized in the event of all attempts at a peaceful solution proving useless to fire on the palace from the men of war? Whilst waiting for a reply from Whitehall, Cave continued issuing ultimatums to Khalid, but to no avail. So he's asking for permission. The next day, 2 British warships entered the harbor. The Raccoon, the Raccoon, that's a great warship name, and the St. George. What boat would you rather be on? Like, oh, I'm on the Raccoon or the St. George?
Obviously, Team Raccoon.
Okay, great. The telegram comes back from British Empire, Britain, comes back to the guys because he was asking for approval. This is what the telegram said. You are authorized to adopt whatever measures you may consider necessary and will be supported in your action by Her Majesty's government. Do not, however, attempt to take any action which you are not certain of being able to accomplish successfully. Did you ever watch Three Ninjas as a kid? Were you not a Three Ninjas guy?
I wasn't a Three Ninjas guy. You're my Three Ninjas guy.
So Three Ninjas, the grandpa is teaching all his grandchildren karate.
Sure.
And he's got a couple rules, and there's one rule is do not enter a fight. You cannot win.
Number 1, never attack unless you're gonna win.
That's basically what they just told him. Like, hey, dude, we don't care what you do. Like, if you fuck up their entire country, we'll support you. You just don't fucking lose.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is always good advice and tough. So the final ultimatum was issued to Khalid on the 26th, demanding that he leaves the place by 9 a.m. the next day. That night, Cave also demanded that all non-military boats leave the harbor in preparation for war. So he's like, yo, get out of there, get your boats out of here, just quit being an idiot. Khalid responded, we have no intention of hauling down our flag, and we do not believe you would fire upon us.
Wow.
He's all in.
Yeah.
He thinks he's bigger than the British Empire. He's like, you didn't think I'd poison my brother. You didn't.
It's a little bit of big timing. It's a little bit of like, it's small time, big time. It's him saying like, you guys don't really want to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm the dude's cousin. I'm cool.
Yeah. He just died. I don't know what happened.
We don't need to fight about it. I'm still grieving.
All right. So the Cave sent back a reply and said he had no desire to fire upon the palace, but unless you do as you were told, we will certainly fire upon you.
Pretty good comeback.
Yeah. Like, oh, no. We will.
I promise you. We totally will.
Yeah. Don't you see the ships out there?
The really big ships.
I got 4 ships full of guys itching to fire upon you.
They want to kill you.
Yeah. I'm trying to be peaceful. I'm Basil. I'm cool.
Yeah.
So they never heard back from him. So at 9 a.m., Cave, they just start bombarding the palace.
Sure.
By 9:02, all of Khalid's artillery was destroyed. The palace wooden structure collapsed with all 3,000 defenders inside of it. And it's around this time, 2 minutes after the initial bombardment, that Khalid is said to have escaped through the back exit, leaving his servants and fighters to defend the palace alone. So the first bombardment just basically won the war.
Yes.
Technically,
Each cannon fired twice, basically.
yeah. By 9:40, the shelling stopped, so they fired on them for 38 minutes, or 30 minutes. The flag was pulled down, and the shortest war in history officially ended after 38 minutes. But it seems like those 2 minutes was all it took.
Khalid just snuck out the back.
Yeah, he just stuck out the back. So this is the best part of the story, okay? Best is a very weird term to use.
Luke's term, yeah.
500 members of Khalid's, they were civilian army, armed guards, servants, whoever he had to defend himself. 500 were wounded or killed. I hate when they say wounded and killed as one thing, because
Right.
they're so different. Like a guy,
Very different.
getting wounded and maybe got some rash on his arm and or bled for a little, didn't even lose a limb, and a guy dying, you can't categorize them in the same things. But
Yeah.
So
Should be two different buckets there.
yeah, but 500. Guess how many injuries there were on the British side?
I'd say 2 from cannons backfiring.
1.
Ah.
Now here's my theory, Jake.
Okay.
That was an inside job.
Yeah.
The British, they wanted to kill this one guy, but they just were waiting for their opening, and they're like, dude, as soon as we go to war,
You're so dead.
you're so dead. They start the war. They're like, oh, great. They stab him, shoot him. I don't know what they did to hurt this one guy. And then no one else got injured on the British side. They were like, oh, fuck.
Oh yeah, must have been a stray bullet. Just got him.
We killed them with our initial blast, so I don't think they fired back anything. So how did you get hurt, dude?
Oh, I don't know. It was crazy. It was sparks everywhere.
It was a firefight.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. This Khalid dude seems like a bad guy. Killed his cousin.
Oh, total bad guy.
Rounded up 3,000 people to be on his side. Like, dude, we're gonna start a new government. I am the Sultan. We will get rid of British rule. We will come up through this. We will make money from slavery. Join me. And 3,000 people were like, okay, man. You just killed the other guy, so okay, we'll be with you. Stay here and fight with me. Cannons go off. He ditches out the back. Just joking. I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah.
500 of them get wounded or die. So
That's the part that's weird for me about that guy. I'm guessing he gathered a bunch of goods or money or whatever was valuable at the time before he left. But I don't know. Quick stint and he's on the run now.
so you want to hear what happens to Khalid?
Of course.
So he made it out with a small group of loyal followers to the local German consulate. Despite repeated calls from the British for his extradition, he was smuggled out of the country on October 2nd. So this all went down in August, September, end of October. So he spent a month hiding. October 2nd, he's smuggled by the German Navy to Tanzania, which is under German rule, as we know. And it wasn't until 1916, so how many years after is that? 1896, 20 years after.
Yeah.
That Khalid was finally captured when the British invaded Tanzania. There was something else going on, and they're like, oh yeah, let's get that dude as well. 20 years ago, remember him? Let's get him.
Yeah.
So they captured him, and they sent him to exile on St. Helena.
Gorgeous.
Which is an island. Jamestown, I think, is there. You know who else was sent to exile in St. Helena?
Morgan Freeman.
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Ah.
So, very common exile island, I guess.
Good exile island. 5 stars.
Yeah, it's like St. Helena, then Alcatraz. You want to go put someone in prison for life? Just send them to these islands. And then, after serving time, he was later allowed to return to East Africa, where he died in 1927. So he only spent 10 years in exile. I don't know. This guy kind of got off light. Like, he killed or wounded 500 people, poisoned his cousin, burnt down the palace of Zanzibar, and, like, all he did was had to live in a different other country and then live on an island for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're romanticizing the island a little bit, but I mean, yeah, up until 1916, he was cruising.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, why don't they kill him?
Why not? Germany was using him as a. He knew the Zanzibar Tanzania game, so they added him to their team, and then when they had to talk to Britain, they'll be like, "Oh, we got this guy. You want him? Do you want this guy? Yeah, you want this guy."
So what happened with Zanzibar is that they had Britain. They put another guy in charge that they wanted instead. Sultan Hamud was loyal to the British. He acted as a figurehead. Blah blah blah. So several months after the war, Hamud, with British prompting, abolished slavery in all forms. So I think Britain
Wow.
Empire, like, yeah, they probably did a ton of bad shit, but they got out a bad guy, pretty quickly. Sure, they had to burn down the palace and kill 500 people in the meantime, but they got abolished slavery. So 500 wounded and dead, abolished all slavery, which was, I think, like a million people, 50,000 people. Within 10 years, 20,000 slaves had been freed from an estimated population of 60,000. So the emancipation process was slow, but good. So I think I'm Team British. I'd like to not be, because they're big bullies and jerks.
What's the other team option? Cousin killer?
Yeah.
You want to be on that team?
You could make a movie where he's a hero and a martyr.
You could, but he's not.
What if, like, his cousin was raping him?
Yeah, that would be a plot twist for sure.
Want to know, what about the war in Troy? That seems like a shorter war.
Like the Trojan horse?
No. Is there no one else?
Oh, that scene, the opening scene in Troy. I mean, maybe that's a battle as part of a bigger war, so it doesn't count as the whole war.
Maybe. I was thinking it took a really long time for Garrett Hedlund to go find Brad Pitt, because this was 38 minutes.
True.
So maybe, Brad Pitt was sleeping, hungover. I don't know how quickly he mobilized to get down there and kill that big dude. So if they start with, like, when the army stopped and looked at each other to when Troy cut off his head or stabbed him.
Who says the official ending? That's the Guinness Book of World Records or whatever.
That's the most bullshit thing about this whole story.
It's so 40 minutes in, they're saying that this war was officially over, but I mean, they were still hunting for that other dude. I mean, what does the war over mean? Like, they stopped firing guns?
I guess so. The flag came down. So, I mean, the flag probably would have come down 36 minutes earlier when they knew Khalid ditched him.
Right. But it's not recorded as a 2-minute war. It's recorded as a 38-minute war.
38-minute war. So if you're the one guy on the British side who got injured, are you proud or ashamed?
I'm probably pretty proud. You play it off.
Because you can say you didn't even do anything. You just sat back and watched. I got hurt.
Yeah, I was in battle, man.
They said his injuries were severe, but he survived them. So.
Ooh.
No idea.
So no cat. So he was in. I mean, it might be a genius play if they knew, bigger war stuff's on the way. He's like, I'm gonna get beat up pretty good in this. And call it.
They're like, all right, we're stopping in Zanzibar. We're stopping in Zanzibar. He's probably like 20 years old. Stopping in Zanzibar, fight a little here. There might be some bigger wars brewing in the future. World War I, maybe, in 20 years. He's like, you know what, though? I got injured back in that Zanzibar war, so I think I'm going to sit World War I out.
Yeah, can't do it. I mean, I'd love to be in the trenches with all the mustard gas and all that stuff, but I still got that piece of shrapnel in my calf.
Yeah, fucking
Like,
Khalid.
you run marathon, dude.
So that's the story of the shortest war ever. Do you want to movie-fy it?
If this were a movie,
You ought to make a movie out of that one.
Let's make a movie.
I guess so. I mean, that's the one. Like you said, raping his cousin, which I'll shy away from. But if the original guy was a bad guy, then yeah, you can make this
And if
to make the dude look pretty good.
And if Britain was really, really like,
Tyrannical.
yes, if the Britain was really a tyrannical ruler over Zanzibar and Zanzibar the country, which probably true, Zanzibar like wasn't benefiting at all from British rule. They were just giving, not getting anything. And this cousin was like, no, we need to fix this. And he's just dumb, but his motives were actually strong, and his resolve was good. He thought he was gonna better the country. He's just super fucking dumb.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like he would have said that in the letters. Like he would have said things more passionately about Zanzibar and ending slavery and all that. Instead, he was just like, no, it's cool. I got the keys to the ship. We're just going to keep moving on as necessary. Thank you, Britain. You won't shoot. You won't.
You won't. Jack and Coke, do it. Yeah. So I think that guy's an idiot. I think if you movie-fy it, Basil Cave's got to be your hero. It's got to be like, he's a tormented hero because he didn't want to kill people. He knew the people of Zanzibar. He's been at people of Zanzibar. He's married to a woman, a Zanzibarian woman. Like,
he's in love with a Zanzibari woman.
Yes, and her family is in the
So is she.
and maybe she's in the palace because they were working for the palace because, they were a team before the other guy got poisoned. I think that's how you movie-fy this. That's actually pretty good.
It's really good.
So Basil is now the confused guy because he does not want to fire upon the palace. He's got his
Fires
love.
upon the palace. He kills the love of his life. The cousin, Mahmoud Radouf, he escapes. And then he's really sad. He goes on like a crazy hunt for that guy.
Yes,
and
it's a journey. Like the war is Act 1 of this movie. Act 2 is coping with the loss, or maybe he's like a crazy man now. And Act 3 is, we're invading East Germany. Britain's invading East Germany. Act 2 is like he's desperate. He doesn't think there's a way to fix anything. Act 3, he finds out that Britain is invading Tanzania or whatever, and he's like, I want to go there. I want to fight. I want to help the cause. But really, his only goal is to look for Khalid because he killed his wife because of him, or his lover. And Britain's like, yeah, dude, you can come. And then he's like, I'm gonna go find Khalid. Britain's, we don't really care, man. We're over that. He's like, no, I killed my lover because of him. He finds him. That's how you movie-fy it.
Whoa.
One man's mission.
It's the name of the movie.
Yeah, that's how they did the Revolutionary War and the Patriot. They just made it one man's mission to revenge his wife and sons. It's like, this whole war about the country. It's like
Patriot goes to Zanzibar.
Yeah, Patriot and Zanzibar. So that's the shortest war ever. Thank you for listening.
The last Patriot of Zanzibar.
The last Patriot of Zanzibar. Basil Cave. Cave's mission. Cave's revenge. Basil.
The Cave.
The Cave. Sounds scary.
That's the name of a scary movie.
If you're from Zanzibar and you're listening,
thank you.
Thank you.
Really, thank you.
Really, thank you. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. If you haven't listened to previous episodes, go back and check those out. They're fun. And give us a rating, a review, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will be back next week with more Laughs from the Past. You giving me a quizzical look, Jake. What's that about?
Laughs from my ass.
Ooh. That was the secondary title. We decided not to go with that.
We passed on that, too.
Yeah, Jake said, how about Laughs from my ass? I said, no, that's not a good title.
Sorry if you're watching the video and I'm not looking good. I don't feel good.
Yeah, well, okay. Bye. Thanks, guys. See ya.